I've got my family's worldly belongings around me, and I am on move number 20 in my adult life.
Wow.
And I'm feeling about an inch tall. And Steve said, you know what you need to do? And I literally audibly said, no, I don't. Thank you very much. What do I need to do? And he goes, you need to do the thing that you do, and you don't even know you do it. And I started crying, and I thought, my gosh, I can get people moved in a week, and I bet everybody can't do that. And that's really what started it.
This is Grindset, where we go inside the minds of those that grind, celebrating and spotlighting entrepreneurship in Memphis. With your host, Dana James Mwangi and Williams Brack.
Welcome to Grindset, powered by Kadzukian and presented by Epicenter. I'm Dana James Mwangi, brand strategist and founder of Cheers Creative.
And I'm Williams Brack, owner of Building Bankable Businesses. And today we're here with Stacey Saed, owner of Anastasis. When you want to downsize, pack, unpack, organize, and decorate, the average amount of items in the American home is approximately 300,000 items.
Oh my goodness.
Stop.
300.
I can't go to work tomorrow. That is too much. That is too much.
And the moving, organizing, not the moving, but the organizing industry is worth $11.4 billion in the U.S. alone. So there's a lot of packing. There's a lot of unpacking. And there's a lot of people who live these busy lives, family, friends, work, and there's a need. And Stacey has stepped up with Anastasis to address this need. Dana?
Before I talk about what Stacey does, I just have to let you know, Stacey's company doesn't just fulfill a need. Her company is there for people who are moving, who are about to move, who are unpacking and getting into their new place. There's emotions that come with that. And Stacey's company is there for that too. And I just think it's an amazing business model. But here we go. Stacey Saed is a native Memphian, a mother, a friend, a woman in recovery, a sister, a daughter, an entrepreneur, a podcaster, and the list goes on. Stacey is a St. Agnes Academy and University of Memphis graduate. She is at her core a woman with a passion for creating inviting living and working spaces. She understands that where we spend our time has everything to do with our health, so true, and well-being. Stacey feels it's a privilege to assist individuals as they downsize, pack, unpack, organize, and decorate when they move, or as they breathe new life into their existing spaces. Companioning others as they are reborn after location into a new season of life is the Anastasis mission. Stacey is fortunate to have a team of like-minded people dedicated to uplifting and compassionately help individuals get settled into their new spaces. The Anastasis team makes homes and offices places to breathe and expand. It is so much more than creating pretty. I just did air quotes, and I wish you all could have seen it. It is a holistic approach that includes purging what does not serve us well. Who would have thought all of that went into packing, unpacking, and decorating and moving?
Well, we're about to find out in the next segment. We're here with Stacey Saed, owner of Anastasis and the Anastasis podcast. We'll be right back after the break.
Grindset.
Looking to make your event unforgettable? Let Kadzukian handle all of your event production needs. At Kadzukian, we specialize in event production services that elevate every moment. From flawless sound to captivating visuals, we've got you covered. Make your event shine with Kadzukian. Contact us today at kadzukian.com or give us a call at 901-512-6767.
Kadzukian.
Welcome back to Grindset. We're here with Stacey Saed, owner of Anastasis and curator of the Anastasis podcast. Now, I'm not going to take it easy on Stacey because she also has a podcast. So let's get, yeah, Stacey, let's get started. So what's in the name? What is Anastasis, and why is that name important to you and your company?
Stacey is a nickname for Anastasia. So when one would go and look in a book like we used to back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and say to see what our name, before we Googled it, to see what our name meant, that's what mine would be. Either resurrection or to be reborn. That it's a nickname for Anastasis. It's Greek, and it is literally, Anastasis is literally the word for resurrection, the Greek word for resurrection. And that's why the name is important to me. But when you're developing a company, you're trying to think of some word that means something, because that's what the world does now. And Anastasis made a lot of sense when I first started the company and now in its evolution.
What services do you provide at Anastasis?
On the surface,
Yep.
what is on the side of the car is the packing, unpacking, decluttering. We say decorating, but really what we do is more replicating. The truth is we try to create home for someone. So it's less about what the new style is. It's more about what someone is comfortable with. We organize to an extent, and if it needs to go deeper, and heaven knows organization these days can get deep, we will bring in an outside vendor. I'll take it to a human level is what I say, but once a Cricut machine needs to get involved,
Yep.
I call other people. But those are the services we offer. That's our entrance in the door. Somebody has got too little time and too many things on their plate and needs to move from one place to the other, or they've got to make their existing place different than what it is.
And so when you decided to start the business, did you market first to individuals that needed decluttering, or did you market first to moving companies and people adjacent to the industry and work that you wanted to do?
Both scenarios that you just mentioned are so logical and so linear. And so to tell you that it was that well thought out would be a mistake. It actually, Brack, came about as it was supposed to be a healthy lifestyle company. The first person that helped brand me, it was supposed to be healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit, healthy home. It was supposed to be kind of that. That was the origin of the company. And for a year, I did everything I could to turn that into income. And the truth was, it was post-COVID. And everybody was still in their carbs and bad habits. And nobody wanted that blanket taken off of them. Nobody wanted to have a conversation about it. So the truth was, I had to pivot after a year into the company. And what that looked like, if you really want to know the story, was Steve Harvey in a YouTube video. One day I'm going to meet Steve and I'm going to go, "You changed my life." And Steve said, like he does, "You know what you need to do?" And I'm on the floor crying because I'm in the process of a divorce and I've got my family's worldly belongings around me, and I am on move number 20 in my adult life.
Wow.
And I'm feeling about an inch tall. And Steve said, "You know what you need to do?" And I literally audibly said, "No, I don't. Thank you very much. What do I need to do?" And he goes, "You need to do the thing that you do and you don't even know you do it." And I started crying and I thought, my gosh, here it is. I can get people moved in a week, and I mean moved in, and I bet everybody can't do that. And that's really what started it.
Steve Harvey started it.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, and thank God for that. So you're saying that you were able to reach down inside and say, "This is something I can do with my eyes closed," and immediately you knew it was getting people moved, but not just moved, but comfortable and feeling like home again.
Pictures hung, toothbrush placed, underwear in drawer.
What would lead a person to have moved different places 20 different times?
Well, I mean, life circumstances. I've got 3 children. With each one of them, that produced something. There was economic instability. There were marriages. There was a lot of trying to change my geographic location to change the way I felt inside. And then after children, it was more necessity moving. And I have not left the city of Memphis. Can I say that? Yeah. 20 times within one city. So there's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of errors. And I also was always the go-to girl when the moving truck left for family and friends. So when that truth, when I felt like it was not just Steve speaking, but I felt like it was God speaking to my heart. I feel like all the mistakes, like God likes to do, were being alchemized into gold. I could see it right in front of me. I was sitting amongst boxes and I knew what I was fixing to do, and I went, there it is.
If that isn't a sign, I don't know what is. You're around boxes.
Oh, I'm in the middle of them in tears. I mean, he's coming over the, Steve is somebody is a go-to for inspirational conversations on YouTube when I'm having a bad day. I can hear his voice.
Wow. What do they consistently thank you for? Is it like a reoccurring theme that you hear among your customers?
They're in tears and they can't say it. They walk in and recognize where they're going. It's probably, Dana, the most impactful when we've taken a senior into retirement living. They have got nothing in their mind except for a dolled up hospital room. I know what they're thinking. And when they walk in and the pictures are hung in the same way, in the same place, when the magnets are on the refrigerator in the same order that they were at their house, that's what they thank us for. They rarely ever use words. It's just wow. And that is, that's the money shot to me. That is when it's like, okay, we did that right.
The money shot is thoughtfulness and care. And I think that's something that's so great to infuse into your business model. Thoughtfulness and care for something that everybody needs. It's a basic need, but you're able to provide so much emotional relief for your customers.
And speaking of customers, you mentioned the move from home into a senior facility. What are some of the other types of moves that you help with, like the types of people or the types of industries?
Well, in the professional world, we say, who is your target audience? 35, all adults, 35 to 65. 9 times out of 10, that is the segment. So I'm in it. That is not only dealing with their own stuff, they've got parents and they've got children, and there's a lot of moving pieces. Primarily, we are working for the children because they know a job has to be done and they are too overwhelmed to do it, and they need somebody else to be them. So that's who our target audience is. Some other type of moves, though, to answer your question is that we are unpacking right now a woman who is has moved back home from the West Coast, from LA. And so the truck dropped off all her worldly business. We have never seen her home. I can't replicate it because I didn't see the original home, but we are getting her unpacked and home. She's not in a senior facility. This is somebody that's coming back home. We have done offices before. A business owner who was too overwhelmed with the state of their office wouldn't go in their office anymore and was having a hard time running their business. That's another example. So really, we are meeting people in their trauma, in their grief, in their moment. But what they're calling is, quote unquote, air quotes, a plumber, an electrician. They're calling somebody very functional. That's what gives us the honor of walking into the room. We're also a bridge between a palace, which is what a retirement community is now. There's nothing dressed up or hospital about them anymore. We're the bridge between a palace, and they can't sell the palace because all the person's thinking about is 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and what am I going to do with all this stuff? For no money to them, we are a solution. And so there's lots of different places. There's lots of different places I want to go because I see the needs is so great.
Well, tell us about those places, Stacey.
I think I'm a native Memphian. I don't think I'm a native Memphian. I am a native Memphian. Let me back up. I love this city with all my heart. And I want to see us in the relocation space. I want to see us help people, executives, human beings moving into this city, because a company will spend a great deal of money to get them boxed up and moved across town, but they're still dumping them off in boxes.
Yeah.
They are half a brain showing up at AutoZone on Monday morning, and whether it's the wife or the husband, they're dealing with texts from the spouse. They can't even find their suit. And the deal is, if they'd spent a couple of more $1,000, they could have gotten food in the fridge and the whole house unpacked and everybody sane and a little bit more ready to go. And I want to be in that space. I also want to be in the space that for people who have lost a family member, 5 or 6 family members that need to somehow divide that up. If we could companion that, and that means shoulder to shoulder with somebody while they picked out what they needed to and boxed it up, and they're grieving, we want to be there. So those are 2 places that I want in. I want in Blue Oval. I want everybody they're walking in the door. I want to tell them about Memphis. I want to send them to Alcinius for dinner.
Right.
I want to do the whole thing, and I want to be there for them so that they think that our town is the best and most hospitable and loveliest place they've ever moved.
What it sounds like is, on top of getting people eased in, and in particular to this city, getting them eased in, it almost sounds like, yes, you're a moving company, organization company, but it's almost like you're a midwife or a doula in a sense for moving, for that part of people's life. And it is an emotional thing, and we're going to get into those emotions and even some of my own that I've been questioning as I look back on my past and moving when we come back.
Grindset. Blues in the basement. Blues in the basement.
I was born in 71, so that was kind of the year that all of Al Green's hits starting to pop off.
Blues in the basement on the Kadzukian Network.
Welcome back to Grindset. We're here with Stacey Saed, owner of Anastasis, and we're just talking about being with people in their moment of need, and it just so happens to take the form of packing and unpacking. Now, you have, I'm counting 6 or 7 employees. And I was listening to your story about Steve Harvey and you having that emotional state and it finally clicking that this is what I wanted to do. How did you fund the initial start of your business?
No funding. A shoestring.
Well, in that case, tell us about your first client.
I need to back it up for just a moment and say that once I said yes, then the phone started ringing. I got connected to somebody, Wendy Canaday, with a company called Moving Forward. She's very successful doing what I do. She's very under the radar. Wendy doesn't even have a website. I mean, she is stealth. And her business is very successful. She said to me after having coffee, there's too much business for us to be in competition. But I'm not going to send anybody to you if I don't think you know what you're doing. So I went and worked for her for 3 months. So my first clients were actually her clients as she was teaching me a skill that I thought I knew. Blindfolded and asleep, I learned a whole new skill set.
Wow.
So June was when we began to take on new clients. And just off the top of my head, I can't even remember our very first one. I'm trying to think of who the very first one was. Oh, it was a simple opportunity to move to a new place. It was a lovely widow in Millington.
Yep.
Lost her husband. Millington's got such big lots. I mean, that's one thing. So as a widow, I mean, if you're not on a riding lawnmower, I mean, gosh, you've got half acre, 3/4 acre.
Wow.
She was one of those people, and they had lived in that house forever. And we moved her to a senior living facility, but she was exceptional in the fact that she was really making all the decisions. And she was in her mid-80s. She was at peace with it. And she gave me a great deal of inspiration because I thought, if your mind is in the right space and you're okay with it, then you really can go. It doesn't always go that way, but she was lovely. And I do remember her being one of my first.
It sounds like, I was going to ask you, why was it important to start the podcast? But as you're talking, you're revealing the stories that come out of the work. So what I'll ask instead is, when did you know it was time to hire another employee?
Immediately. I mean, I never did it by myself. So, you know, I did what all entrepreneurs did is I reached into my children's friend group and I hired my middle son's girlfriend, right, as one does, because that's who we are, and said, I think you're going to get paid, but can you help me do that? So that was the very first. And with people that work alongside me, we're teammates. They're 1099. They're not employees. They're 1099 individual. You know, they're contractors. It's healthy for the company. It's healthy for me, and they get to pick and choose when they want to work. Yep. And it doesn't burden Anastasis, the C Corp. You know, which is its own little life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I want to take it back in a more emotional direction. So I, when I was a child, had one of the biggest moves of my life. You know, of course, my parents moving because of a job transfer. And I remember after that move, well, during and after that move, being sick to my stomach, throwing up. I remember that. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to move anymore. I don't want to move anymore. Later on, graduated from college, and I have a son. I'm a single mom. My son is 3 by the time I was able to leave home. Moved again. But now I'm 23. Still the same symptoms. And it became a thing to where I just did not, I was like, what is happening here? And some of the stories that you're telling me is telling me a little something about what might be going on with me.
100%. Dana, you are exactly right. What I learned that I did not expect, what I am finding out, what's being revealed to me that necessitated a podcast, was people's lives were being reborn. They were being changed, but it wasn't until after they were walking through some significant pain. There is grief. There is trauma. We are not having that conversation at all. And it needs to be, we need to hold each other in that space. Right. Because even though we're going somewhere better, we're going somewhere new, that is an emotional space. Your physical symptoms, your body knows that you are doing something contrary to what every cell in your body wanted to do. You had associated a move with a massive amount of trauma. And you were willingly walking through that again, and your body was saying, hold up, wait a minute. If she's going to do this, I'm at least going to help her get sick so she can rest a little bit. So she can lay down. So she'll lay down.
Because she won't any other way. Wow. You know, we go through these big changes in life, and because of our culture, you know, the hurry up and get it done, this hustle culture, we go through these big movements in life. And it's just get it done. Moving is just a part of life. You just got to do it. Just like you got to mow the grass, wash dishes, and you got to go get a root canal and all this other stuff. But there are things that happen within the body, and it seems like your company, and that's what I'm so fascinated with, because the branding of it all, your company helps with the emotional side of transferring of one part of your life ending and another part of your life beginning. I just think that's a heck of a brand difference.
Without a doubt. Even when I did the pivot, I went back and looked at the mission statement, and you know, the mission statement didn't change at all. When I was talking about healthy food, healthy lifestyle, blah, 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 the mission statement was very clean, but it was all about helping people's lives be reborn. We just chose a different mode.
Yes.
A different place that was marketable. You know, that could do it. We did not change anything about the company. That's what I thought was so miraculous.
I've always said this, you may have a skill set, but your purpose is your purpose. And you can carry out that purpose through a variety of methods. But the vehicle to carry out that purpose can change. And so it's so interesting that the mission statement aligns with your life purpose and what you want to see happen in people's lives.
And that's true. And when I look at your website and I look at some of the titles of your podcast, right? A move, a marriage, and a new life, a calling and a downsizing, the upside of a corporate job. Relocation to a new town produces advocacy. I was watching something, video, and it said if you're selling a product or service, you're losing, right? If you're telling a story, if you're solving a problem, you're getting to the heart of the matter. That's where the premium sale and premium opportunity comes from. And now you're a podcaster in addition to a business owner. What was the initial thought into starting a podcast and what it was supposed to accomplish versus what the podcast is actually doing?
That has everything to do with Larry Robinson. When I sat down with him a year before I started recording the podcast, I had a fuzzy idea about what I would like to do. He listened to it and he thought it was fine, but we just, I got a quote for the podcast club and we just kind of dropped it. A year later, Larry calls me out of the clear blue and we're merely acquaintances. I'm surprised the man had my phone number. I mean, that's the truth. And he said, Stacey, this is Larry Robinson. I met someone who knows you. I just wanted to reach out. And all of a sudden, again, another moment, I went, oh, Larry, now I know. And then it was like it was cooked. It was ready. I didn't care. I still don't care about what the podcast is doing. The stories are so vital that I've got to put them out there. And then I trust between the wisdom of Kudzukian, the production of Kudzukian, the sphere of influence of Larry Robinson and his team, that somehow, some way, it's going to make Anastasis, the company, a little bit better for it. But I'm telling you, when he heard the idea for when we sat down the second time, he said, oh my gosh, now you're ready. Let's do this.
Now you're talking on theme. And that it was Steve Harvey who motivated you in a way to start your business. A couple of calls from Larry Robinson to get you started on your podcast journey. But you seem to be open to the messages of the universe or God to direct your next move.
100%.
How did you get that way? What's that about?
That's about recovery. I have been in the beautiful and amazing 12-step world of recovery for 25 years. And I have been trained to say something every day, which is, thy will be done, not mine. I mean, hardwired, those of us who go down that road. And that really means game on. Whatever you thought you were doing, you're not doing. Whatever you thought you were going. And some days, I mean, when it's really tough, that prayer can be angry and mad. It can be, what do you want from me today? I am showing up. I am dressing up. And business isn't coming in. What now? Or some days it can be, thy will be done, not mine. But I am in the service of God 100%. And I have been given a gift to provide man dollars for my family, because I am head of household of 3 college-age students, and we're not playing.
You're working hard, Dan.
Not playing. I have done some Shark Tank proposals to get funding and some undergirding, just some prudent reserve and marketing money for this account. And I have been, bless your hearted, almost out of the room, because all someone is seeing is supplemental income. It's a cute little company. A moving company might be able to just bring you on, which is essentially take all the hard work you've done and just hand it to a large moving company and they'll swallow you up. And I've had that said to me. I get it. I know how the game is played. I understand. But I worship a huge God, a disruptive God, and that is who I serve. And so when I tell people, when you see me, I need you to see a 56-year-old grown man with 4 dependents and 2 dogs and a house. And I need to be looked at that way. So, I'm working 80 hours a week and I'm not here to play. I'm building an empire.
I must say, I am looking forward to seeing you disrupt this industry, because I believe that that's exactly what's going to happen. And I'm so honored that we were able to sit down with you today.
And so where can the Grindset audience find more information about you and Anastasis?
Well, I think the most helpful thing is me to spell the word.
Yes.
So in order to get a .com, one must, so I'm Stacey Ann. The company is ANNESTASIS.com, 901-258-2066. Those two places you can get to us. info@anastasis.com. We have YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and all those social media channels. That's the best way to find us.
Well, Stacey, I didn't expect this to get as deep and emotional as it did, but thank you very much for sharing your story.
Oh my gosh, I'm so honored to be here with you guys and to be included in the conversation about entrepreneurship in Memphis. I think it's going to change the city. I think the whole thing will. So thank you.
I think you're going to change the city. You're listening to Grindset, and we'll be right back after the break.
Grindset.
Calling all podcasters. The Podcast Club is a creative space for creators and innovators to share their voice and empower their messages. Come be a part of the Podcast Club. You can come join us and we will help you start your own podcast. We have all the tools you need: staff, studio, and equipment. If you want more information about the Podcast Club, go visit our website, kazukian.com/podcast-club.
Welcome back to Grindset. We just finished an amazing, eye-opening interview with Stacey Saed of Anastasis. And we always, at the end, offer takeaways that we hear when entrepreneurs come to our show. And the truth is, when they come, they're providing a marketing class, a finance class, a branding master class. And so one of my takeaways that I want everybody to remember is that the smallest businesses need to have the biggest brands, because no one has ever bought your product or service. They buy what that product or service represents. They buy how that experience makes them feel. And what Stacey has done with her company is she has crafted an experience where, yes, we can help you move, relocate, and get reorganized. But we're not selling speed, we're selling grace. We are selling care. We are selling comfort. And when you think like that, when you brand like that, when you find other emotions to take care of, when it comes to a customer, you can create a big brand difference within your own industry. Number 2, everything that happens, good or bad, it's gonna get used. There's not one drop that will be left. The thing you thought had nothing to do with nothing, the 20 moves, the this and the that, all of that, it will come back to you when you least expect it. And you'll be like, that's why I moved 20 times. As Stacey was saying in her own story. And last, get training. Get as much education as you possibly can. An entrepreneur, the higher they go, they're going to be spending most of their time being the face of the company, selling, capturing results, and learning. You want to be the best in your field. You want to create a curriculum for yourself to where you study your field every day. And you want to learn from people who are 10 steps ahead of you.
Dan, I'll be honest. When I was on Stacey's website and I saw her rate listed, I had sticker shock. I was like, oh my God, well, that. But then I hear the story. And whatever the rate is, if you're going through divorce, if you're transitioning cities, you just lost a loved one and you have to move, there's no price you can put on home. And Anastasis helps create home. You're listening to Grindset. We'll see you next episode.
Grindset. Executive producer, Epicenter. Grindset is directed, produced, and distributed by Kadzukian.